Good evening, I am at your disposal. At the very beginning, I would just like to say that we are grateful to the leadership of Kyrgyzstan for organizing this work and for the whole past year. During the period when Kyrgyzstan chaired the CSTO, it held various events. Undoubtedly, this contributed to strengthening the organization. In my view, in today's turbulent conditions, frankly, this is a crucial element of stability across our entire common space. It's important for Russia, and for many CSTO countries, it holds great significance. Everyone easily agreed to all the solutions proposed by the Secretariat. Everything has been signed, as you know. Practically no disputes arose in any single area. Everyone understands that in today's modern conditions, we need to work more closely with each other. We threaten no one, but we must be ready to counter any actions that would be aggressive towards our countries. And many other areas of work. We'll probably talk more about this later. The work has been accomplished. It is practical, and it is proceeding along these most important directions. And overall, firstly, we are stating the result. It is present. And there it is. And secondly, I also see very good prospects for the development of our cooperation within the Collective Security Treaty Organization. As you are aware, Russia is now chairing the CSTO. We will be fulfilling this role throughout the entire year. I have already outlined our priorities for this chairmanship during the expanded session. I believe you are well aware of this. There's hardly any need to repeat all this, but overall, we highly value the results of this joint work. Well, the priorities, I repeat, were clearly outlined by me during the expanded meeting. This was done openly. You were probably present there, or at least many of you heard all of this. There are many priorities: improving our cooperation, comparing the capabilities of the defense industrial sectors of various countries. Even since Soviet times, the cooperation was known to be very deep. We offer preferential terms for the purchase of our weapons and equipment to CSTO countries. All of this is working quite effectively. Yes, it's clear everything is understood. In the context of the special military operation, for some components we have. Our current capabilities are not that vast, because, they are quite extensive, but we must meet our needs in various separate directions. We are doing this entirely. I don't believe that our production capabilities are over-dimensioned, but we don't just meet our own domestic requirements, we also supply products for export. And we continue to do so, as a matter of fact. These concerns, first and foremost, aviation technology, both fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. And now, naturally, we have accomplished a great deal. I believe it's fair to say that this is a revolution for us in the field of unmanned technology and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. We are prepared to share all of this with our partners. Another important direction, a key area of our joint work, is improving the operational efficiency of the CSTO's governing bodies. This is quite a bureaucratic task, but it is still important, bearing in mind that each country is interested in minimizing expenses and increasing the effectiveness of our cooperation. We will continue, as we have done in the past, or rather, we will continue to conduct relevant joint exercises in all areas. This is not just about cooperation through the armed forces. Pause. It also concerns the work of special services. Pause. Unfortunately, the drug threat and organized crime are still here. Pause. All of this will be within our scope, and we intend to continue all that our colleagues from Kyrgyzstan have achieved. I mentioned this. Full continuity will be ensured. I am absolutely confident that this will be beneficial for each and every one of the CSTO member states. As for the position of Armenia itself, yes, that position is also very well known. It is, as our Armenian colleagues tell us, they say that We support all decisions that are made within the CSTO. We consider ourselves members of the CSTO, but at this current stage, we are refraining from participating in the meetings of this organization. Well, that's their choice. So, if they find it acceptable to operate in this manner for the time being, then fine, we agree. Since they are members of the organization, we are in contact with them here in Russia. And as the state that has now taken the lead in the work within the CSTO, we will of course remain in constant contact with them as they are members of this organization. And naturally the decisions will be developing for each of the priorities. We will also be discussing and refining with them regarding the proposed draft of the agreement. However, there were no actual draft agreements. Instead, there was a collection of questions that were suggested for discussion and final formulation. In general, I have already spoken on this particular matter many times. We discussed this with the American negotiators before my visit to the United States and before my trip to Alaska. And following that, there emerged that very list of potential agreements, consisting of 28 points. And as I have already publicly stated, it was conveyed to us through specific channels. We then carefully familiarized ourselves with its details. Subsequently, negotiations were held in Geneva between the American delegation and the Ukrainian delegation. They, as I understand it, decided among themselves that all these 28 points needed to be divided into 4 separate components. Yes, broadly speaking, and all of this information has been fully conveyed to us. Overall, we certainly agree that this could potentially form the fundamental basis for any future agreements. However, it would be rather impolite of me to discuss any definitive or final options at this particular moment, especially given that none currently exist. Some things, they are of a fundamental nature, and overall, we see that the American side to some extent considers our position, which was discussed before Anchorage and after Alaska. We definitely need to sit down and seriously discuss specific issues. Everything needs to be put into diplomatic language. Because it's one thing to simply say that Russia isn't going to attack Europe. This sounds funny to us, doesn't it? We never intended to, but if they want to hear from us, well, let's put it on record. No problem. There are just some people there, I think they're a little out of their minds. When publicly, or some fraudsters, wanting to gain something from it, tell their own population, their citizens, that Russia is preparing to attack Europe, and we must immediately strengthen our defense capabilities. Perhaps they're serving the interests of the defense industry, private companies, or perhaps they're trying to boost their domestic political ratings, given the deplorable state of the economy and social sector. It's hard to say what their motives are, but from our perspective, this is utter nonsense, a blatant lie. However, if this has been amplified in public consciousness, if they frighten their citizens and they want to hear that we don't intend to, and we have no aggressive plans, no plans concerning Europe, please, we are ready to document this however you wish. Perhaps there is a point to this. Bearing in mind, if we all want to talk together and discuss, and clarify some points on matters of pan-European security. I suppose so, yes. We ourselves once proposed this very thing. If our Western, let's call them partners again, want this now, then please, we are ready. But we all understand, we need to sit down and seriously discuss this. Every single word there has meaning. Or, for example, in one document it's mentioned that we must resolve the issue of strategic stability with our American partners. But, for heaven's sake, are we opposed? We were the ones who proposed this. We even proposed to the Obama administration to negotiate on certain issues. We heard them respond yes, yes, and then, just a month before the Obama administration's term ended, From the White House, well, everything got stuck. And now another treaty is expiring for us. START 3. It expires in February. But they don't want to do anything about it. There's no need. But from these documents, we saw that, overall, there is a desire to return to these matters. Each of these questions is a separate, very serious area. We are, of course, ready for this serious discussion, and next week the American delegation is supposed to arrive in Moscow.